Good morning. Okay, in today's class, we are going to discuss about temperature measurement. So this is the last topic in our first unit. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about constant volume gas thermometer and electrical resistance thermometer, and what is ideal gas temperature, and comparison of temperature scales and problems relating to temperature. Coming to constant volume gas thermometer. So this is the constant volume gas thermometer. It consists of a capillary tube B. So B is the glass tube here. So this glass tube is connected with a capillary tube, and this capillary tube is in turn connected with a U-tube manometer here. So this is a U-tube manometer which contains mercury. So initially what we will do is the pressure that is acting on the other side of the mercury limb is atmospheric pressure. So here P0 is the atmospheric pressure acting on the open side of the manometer, and we will just move this limb such that the level of this mercury will just touches this capillary tube. Okay, so that if mercury just touches this capillary tube C, the height difference between the manometric fluid is taken as Z. So M represents manometric fluid, which is mercury, and this is a flexible tube, because in flexible tube, if you move this limb here, we can adjust the length of the level between the two limbs. Okay, so this is the construction of volume gas thermometer. So volume gas thermometer lo deentlo bulb B untundamma. So ee bulb B ki oka capillary tube ni connect chestam. C is the capillary tube. So ee capillary tube ni em chestamante oka U-tube manometer ki connect chestamu. So this U-tube manometer that is taken is a flexible U-tube manometer. Flexible అని ఎందుకు తీసుకుంటాము అని అంటే, సో ఇది L అనే పాయింట్ వచ్చినప్పుడు మనకి ఏం చేస్తాము అని అంటే, the mercury will just touches the lip of this capillary tube. Okay, so at that point the difference between the levels of the mercury in the U-tube manometer is taken as Z, and the pressure acting here is P0. So if this glass bulb is placed in the area where the temperature is to be measured, so మనం ఏదైనా ఒక fluid కనుక temperature measure చేయాలనుకున్నప్పుడు if you place this bulb there, ఏమవుతుంది అని అంటే the gas inside this bulb will get expanded here. So if the gas inside the bulb expands, so the gas will expand inside the capillary tube and pushes this mercury downwards. So ఈ mercury ని downwards push చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది, మళ్ళీ there will be a difference in this level of the mercury manometer. So మళ్ళీ ఏం చేస్తాము అని అంటే, next we will adjust this manometric fluid height again to Z. Okay, again to this position. మళ్ళీ మెర్క్యూరీని ఫ్లెక్సిబుల్ ట్యూబింగ్ యూస్ చేసి మళ్ళీ సేమ్ పొజిషన్ కి లిప్ ఆఫ్ ది క్యాపిలరీ ట్యూబ్ టచ్ అయ్యే వరకు యూస్ చేస్తాము, మూవ్ చేస్తాము. ఎందుకంటే టు మెయింటైన్ ది కాన్స్టెంట్ వాల్యూమ్ ఇన్సైడ్ ది బల్బ్, సిన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ది కాన్స్టెంట్ వాల్యూమ్ గ్యాస్ థర్మోమీటర్. సో మనం అలా అడ్జస్ట్ చేయడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే, వాల్యూమ్ విల్ రిమైన్ కాన్స్టెంట్ బట్ ద ప్రెషర్ ఇన్సైడ్ ద గ్యాస్ విల్ ఇంక్రీజ్. Okay, that means in constant volume gas thermometer there is a variation in pressure. So the thermometric property in the constant volume gas thermometer, as we have studied, is the change in pressure. So that pressure we will measure. So delta T, the difference in the mercury level delta Z is recorded, and the pressure delta P of the gas in the bulb is estimated. So here, due to the temperature change, we will observe a change in pressure. So the temperature and pressure are related. The temperature and pressure are related by using this equation, by ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT. Okay, delta T is equal to V by R into delta P. Okay, that means temperature increase here is proportional to the pressure increase. So whereas if you take a constant pressure gas thermometer, in constant pressure gas thermometer, the mercury levels will be adjusted here and the volume of the gas will vary while the pressure remained constant. Okay, in constant volume gas thermometer, the volume is kept as constant. There the thermometric property is taken as pressure, whereas in constant pressure gas thermometer, the levels have to be adjusted to keep the pressure as constant and the volume of the gas will vary. That means according to ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT, there is a variation in temperature and volume and remaining terms are taken as constant. So the thermometric property in this particular constant pressure gas thermometer is volume here. Okay. So constant volume gas thermometer is however mostly in use since because it is of simple in construction and easier to operate. And next coming to electrical resistance the thermometer. So this is the electrical construction of electrical resistance thermometer. So here the thermometric property is taken in electrical resistance thermometer. The electrometric property is taken as resistance here. So we will consider a Wheatstone bridge here as shown in figure. So in resistance thermometer, the change in resistance here of a metal due to the change in temperature is the thermometric property, because if you apply a change in temperature, it occurs a change in, it causes a change in resistance, and this change in resistance is taken as a thermometric property. So the wire we will use here is the platinum and it is connected in a Wheatstone bridge here. So the platinum resistance thermometer will measure the temperature to a higher degree of accuracy here, which makes it suitable as standard for calibration for other thermometers also. So it is found out the resistance can be found out by using this quadratic equation where R is equal to R naught into 1 plus AT plus BT square. Okay, where R naught is the resistance of the platinum wire when it is surrounded by melting ice, and A and B are taken as constant, and these constant values will be vary for different materials. And coming to ideal gas temperature, so this is the graph that is plotted for ideal gas temperature. So what is ideal gas temperature? Why this graph is plotted is, suppose if you take a constant volume gas thermometer and which contains an amount of gas such that when the bulb is surrounded by water, so if the bulb in the constant volume gas this is the constant volume gas thermometer. So in this case, if the bulb is surrounded here by water at its triple point, so the pressure, let it say it is 1000 mm of Hg, and in this case the volume is kept constant. Okay, so for this first case is if we surround this bulb with a steam, so this bulb is placed inside a steam which starts condensing at 1 atmospheric pressure, and if you measure the pressure here, because it is a constant volume gas thermometer, there is a variation of pressure. So if we measure pressure here, so that pressure can be calculated using this formula. Theta is equal to 273.16 into P by 100. Okay. So if we remove the gas, some of the gas, so if in the bulb, if you remove some of the gas here, okay, and then when it is surrounded by water at its triple point, the pressure is say 500 mm of Hg. So we can find out the another value of pressure. So another value of pressure is given as same by using the formula 273.15 into 16 into P by 500. That means if as we go on decreasing the pressures, the value of here, the denominator value goes on decreasing. So if we go on decreasing the amount of gas in the bulb, we will get the different values of PT values, okay, for different change in pressure values. So if you plot, if you repeat the same experiment by taking another gas in the same bulb. So this is if you take oxygen here. So for oxygen at pressure 1000 mm of Hg, this is the point, okay. And for the same oxygen, if we reduce the pressure to 500 here, automatically the temperature decreases. Similarly, if you repeat the same experiment for 250 pressure also, we will get this point. So if you join all the points, this is the line. So if you, in the same way, if you repeat the experiment for different gases, that means for oxygen, air, nitrogen, and hydrogen, these are the plots here. So the graph here shows that although the readings all are taken at constant volume gas thermometer here, it depends upon the nature of the gas. For different natures of the gas, we are getting different values here. Okay, so it depends upon the nature of the gas, and all the gases indicates the same pressure as PT is same temperature, sorry, as the PT is lowered and make to approach zero. So if you go on decreasing here, so if we reach the pressure to zero, all the gases will reach the same temperature here. Okay, and so that temperature is 373.15 Kelvin. Okay, so if the same tests are carried with a constant pressure gas thermometer also, that means if you take the first reading for 1000 mm of Hg and second for 500 mm of Hg and third by 250 mm of Hg here, then we will get the same plot. Okay, so this is about ideal gas temperature, and if we compare all the temperature scales here, so this is the boiling point and this is the freezing point. So if you take the degree centigrade scale, so in degree centigrade scale, the freezing point of water is 0 degree centigrade and the boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade. So in the Fahrenheit scale, it is 32 degrees F and 212 degrees F. And it is in absolute scale, it is 273 Kelvin and 373 Kelvin. So here, if you want to compare this, okay, so the relation between these three scales first is given as C minus this 0 divided by 100 minus 0. And here F minus 32, F in the degree Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 212 by 32. 212 minus 32. And K minus 273 is equal to 373 minus 273. So which is equal to rho minus this 0. So we have to compare these scales with another new scale. We have to use the same relation here. Rho minus 0 divided by number of divisions difference between the number of divisions, that is 80 minus 0. Similarly, x minus 10 divided by the difference between the divisions, 30 minus 20. Okay, so this is the relation we have to use. So if we take one example problem here, so this is one example problem we have taken. A new scale n of temperature is divided in such a way that the freezing point of ice is, so the freezing point of ice is given as 100 degrees in a new scale. The freezing point is given as 100 degrees centigrade and the boiling point is given as 400 degrees N. So that is some new scale. So it is represented with N here, new scale. What is the temperature reading on this scale when the temperature is 150 degrees centigrade? So if in centigrade in centigrade scale, if you measure the temperature as 150 degrees centigrade, what is the corresponding temperature at this new scale? Okay. So if you plot the same data in the form of a scale, so here they have discussed about 2 points here. First one is freezing point and second one is boiling point. So the freezing point, generally we know for a water, if we take water, the freezing point we will take it as 0 degrees centigrade here, and the boiling point we will take it as 100 degrees centigrade here. Okay. So for a new scale, the freezing point is taken as 100 degrees centigrade. That means corresponding to 0 degrees centigrade, the freezing point is 100 degrees N, while the boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade for a centigrade scale, while for this new scale, the boiling point is taken as 400 degrees N. So for a particular 150 degrees centigrade, what is this temperature? This we have to measure. So if you write the relation 150 minus 0, okay, divided by number of divisions, 100 minus 0 is equal to N minus this 100 divided by number of divisions here, 400 minus 100. Okay, so if you equate these two, so this is 150 by 100, which is equal to N minus 100 by 300. Okay, so if you cross multiply this, you will get N as 550 degrees centigrade. That means at corresponding to 150 degrees centigrade, the temperature in the new scale is recorded as 550 degrees centigrade. So up to this we have completed. Next they have asked at what temperature both the Celsius and new temperature scale reading would be same. So here, if we see for 0 degrees centigrade, it is 100. For 100, it is 400. For 150, it is 550. So like this, if you go on increasing this temperature or decreasing this temperature, at what temperature in the centigrade scale, it will becomes equal to that of the new scale. So that particular temperature we have to find out. Okay. So let us take the general relation here. So the general relation in centigrade scale is, so this relation we will take C minus 0. Okay, this relation C minus 0 by 100 minus 0 is equal to N minus 100 divided by 400 minus 100. So if we assume that at particular scale, okay. So or if we replace it, x by 100 is equal to x minus 100 by 300. So at particular x, these both are equal. Let us assume at a particular x value, both these temperatures are equal, that is C is equal to N. So C and N are replaced with X here. Okay. So from this, if we calculate X value, you will get X is equal to minus 50 degrees centigrade. That means that X is equal to minus 50 degrees centigrade. The temperature of the both Celsius and the new temperature scale reading would be the same. Okay. So if you go on to second problem, the temperature T on a temperature scale is measured in terms of a property K and is given by the relation T is equal to A into ln of K plus B. So this is the relation between the temperatures and a property K. Temperature and a property K. Here A and B are treated as constant values. So the values of A and B, sorry, this A and B are found, okay, the values of K are found to be 1.83 at the ice point. So K value, K is 1.83 at the ice point, and whereas at steam point, the value of K is 6.78. Okay. So the temperatures of which are assigned to the numbers 0 and 100 degrees centigrade. That means at ice point, the temperature is taken as 0 degrees centigrade at a particular K value of 1.83. And at a steam point, the temperature is taken as 100 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees respectively. So we have to determine the temperature when the K is equal to 2.42. That means when K is equal to 1.83, it corresponds to ice point, that is T0. When K is 6.78, the temperature is 100 degrees centigrade, corresponds to steam point. So we have to determine the temperature when K value lies in between these two, that is 2.42. So at what temperature, that particular temperature we have to determine. So if you substitute the values here, so we are saying that A and B are constant. So first we will find out the constants A and B. Since there are two constants A and B, we need two equations to solve for the two unknowns. So those two equations we needed are obtained by substituting these K values and the temperature values. So at T is equal to 0, the value of A is 1.83. Okay, K is 1.83. So substitute K is equal to 1.83 and T is equal to 0 to get the first equation. Similarly, substitute T is equal to 100 degrees centigrade. Similarly, at T is equal to 100 degrees centigrade, the value of K is 6.78. Okay. So if we solve these two equations, so if we subtract these two equations, we will get, so 100 minus, if we subtract equation 2 from equation 1, that means 2 minus 1. So 100 minus 0 is 100, B minus B is 0, and A into K into ln of 6.78 minus 1.83 is ln of 6.78 by 1.83. From this, if you find A value and substitute this A value in any one of these equation to get the value of B. Okay. So after getting the B value, so we know already the value of A. So substitute the values of both A and B in temperature here. Okay. And corresponding K value. So we are asked to find that K is equal to 2.42. So substitute that K value also to find out the temperature at which K is equal to 2.42. So coming to the next problem. So this is our next problem. The limiting value of the ratio of the pressures. So this is the ratio of the pressures is for the steam point and the triple point of the water is So here when the gas is kept at constant volume is found to be. So in a constant volume gas thermometer, or volume is kept as constant. So if volume is kept as constant, there is a change in pressure. So the change in pressure in terms of ratio is given as a 1.36605 here. So we have to find out the ideal gas temperature of this steam. So ideal gas temperature of the steam is given by the relation theta is equal to, for a constant volume here. So I have written V here. Okay, 273.16 into P by PT. So 273.16 into P by PT means this ratio they have given. So if it is a constant pressure gas thermometer, we have to write the ratio of volumes here. So that is the only difference. So you'll get the ideal gas temperature of the steam as 373.15. So coming to the definitions of specific heat and latent heat, as we have already studied. So in this class, we will study the definition some more clear. So the specific heat is defined as, it is defined as Q is equal to mCp delta T, as we already know. So from this, C is equal to Q by M into delta T. So it is defined as the amount of heat. So C is equal to Q. That means C is the specific heat is equal to the amount of heat. So when C is equal to 2, when M is equal to 1 and delta T is equal to 1. So when these both are equal to 1, then we can say that C is equal to Q. So that means specific heat of a substance is defined as the amount of heat required when when we take unit mass of a substance, and when it is heated, it will raise the temperature to 1 degree centigrade rise in temperature is observed. So that is specific heat. That particular heat we will call it as specific heat of the substance. Okay. So the specific heat of a substance is defined as the amount of heat that is required to rise the unit mass of the substance through unit rise in temperature. Okay, so the specific heat is denoted with a symbol small c here. So Q means amount of heat transfer in joules, and M is the mass of the substance, and delta T is the temperature rise. Okay, so next what happens is, so since heat is not a property, specific heat is a for gases, it will take it as, if the process is at constant pressure. For particular gases, if the process is at constant pressure, it is denoted with Cp. That means specific heat at constant pressure. So if it is, the process is taking place at constant volume, we can denote with constant volume Cv. Only for gases. Okay. For solids and liquids, specific heat does not depend on process. So it is independent on process. Okay. Only for gases, we will take both the values of Cp and Cv. Whereas for solids and liquid, we will not consider the specific heat does not depend on the process. So we will take C only. So if you multiply this specific heat with the mass, so since it is a specific quantity which is independent of mass, if it is multiplied with the mass, we will get the heat capacity. So the heat capacity will denote it with a capital C. So capital CV means heat capacity at constant pressure, capital CV means heat capacity at constant volume. So coming to the latent heat definition. So latent heat means the amount of heat that required to change the phase at a constant temperature and constant pressure. So by maintaining the same temperature and same pressure, if we change the phase from water to vapor, or any phase change that takes place for a 1 kg or per unit mass of a substance, maintaining a constant pressure and constant temperature, that particular heat we will call it as latent heat. So generally there are 3 phases. One is latent heat of fusion, and that means so there is a solid phase, liquid phase, and vapor phase. So relating to these 3 phases, we can define latent heat as latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, and latent heat of sublimation. So latent heat of fusion means, so the amount of heat transfer or use it to melt from solid to liquid. So if you convert from solid form to liquid form, the amount of heat that is required is called as latent heat of fusion. Or if you freeze the liquid into solid also, so the amount of heat that is removed is also called as latent heat of fusion. And coming to latent heat of vaporization is the phase change between liquid and vapor. So if you convert liquid to vapor, we have to add some quantity of heat. So that the amount of heat that is added if converting from liquid state to vapor state is called as latent heat of vaporization. And in order to convert from vapor state to liquid state, what happens is we have to remove some amount of heat. So the amount of heat removed in such case is also called as latent heat of vaporization. And coming to latent heat of sublimation, so it is between the solid and vapor. So the amount of heat that is required to convert a unit mass of a substance from solid to vapor is called as latent heat of sublimation, or the amount of heat that is removed in order to convert vapor to solid is also called as latent heat of sublimation. So latent heat of fusion here is not much affected by pressure, whereas latent heat of vaporization is highly sensitive to pressure. Okay. In this class, we have studied about how to measure the temperature using constant volume gas thermometer and electrical resistance thermometer, and what is ideal scale temperature and the problems relating to temperature, and the definitions of specific latent heat, and how to define latent heat for different phase changes, that is from solid to liquid or liquid to vapor or from solid to vapor state. Okay, thank you.